Hi everyone, my name is Mallory Conlon and I am the Outreach and Education Lead at Yerkes Observatory located in Williams Bay, Wisconsin in the United States. I'm really excited to share some insights into the recent rejuvenation of the observatory with you all, as well as share some highlights of and plans for our education and research programming. To provide a bit of background for those who aren't familiar, Yerkes is often called the birthplace of modern astrophysics, and it maintained its status as one of the world's premier astronomical observatories throughout the 20th century. It's home to the world's largest refracting telescope, which was designed by George Ellery Hale, and it saw its first light more than 125 years ago in 1897. The Great Refractor, as we call it, has a 40-inch aperture, which is just over a meter, which means that its primary lens is just over a meter in diameter. Its focal length, which is the length between the primary lens and the point where the light focuses at the eyepiece, is 63 feet or about 19 meters. It's hard to capture just how gigantic this telescope is, so for reference, I've included this picture of my 4-year-old son next to the Great Refractor. He's just over a meter tall, about the same size as the primary lens, so you can use that for scale. The Great Refractor, it's truly a marvel of engineering, and it stops people in its tracks when they enter the dome room. So we're thrilled that we're able to start bringing people back in to see this. Despite reflecting telescopes, which use mirrors instead of lenses, becoming more popular as research instruments soon after 1897, the observatory was home to some of the most renowned astronomers in the world during the 20th century. This included Nancy Grace Roman, who became NASA's first chief of astronomy and was essential for the Hubble Space Telescope to be built. And Gerard Kuiper, who hypothesized the existence of a trans-Neptunian belt around the solar system that's filled with comets and other icy bodies, which is now known as the Kuiper Belt. One remarkable feature of the observatory as well is that it was a school where graduate students from the University of Chicago did their dissertation research and took classes. Some of the students that have walked Yerkes halls include Edwin Hubble, who began his research on galaxies here before the First World War, as well as Carl Sagan, who went on to become one of the most admired science communicators of the 20th century. And although he didn't work at Yerkes, Einstein made it a point to visit the observatory during his trip to the US in 1921, simply because of the remarkable work happening here. During its time as part of the University of Chicago, Yerkes had a significant impact on astronomy. But in 2020, the university sought to find new stewards for the observatory, which they did through the Yerkes Future Foundation. So now, through the leadership of YFF and support from the local community, we're entering a period of rejuvenation. During our first 3 years, we're striving to raise $30 million in an effort to preserve and restore the observatory. And we're currently in our second year of fundraising, and we've raised almost 2/3 of this amount. And because of this, have been able to begin substantial restoration projects, which you can see in some of these photos. Ultimately, though, we're working to do more than preserve and restore the physical infrastructure of the building. We're also committed to building a future where Yerkes inspires creativity through exploration, art, and a connection with the cosmos. A future where imagination and collaboration and scientific curiosity can thrive and ultimately transform the world. To that end, we're working to rebuild Yerkes' education and research programming, restoring the observatory's place as a center for discovery. As we work to build these programs, one resounding theme we're focusing on is providing access to our visitors. Access to not only Yerkes and its history, but also the field of astronomy and astrophysics, and access across a wide range of populations. With Yerkes programming, we're aiming to connect people of all ages and backgrounds with astronomy's history, present, and future, and inspire within them a curiosity for the universe. We also want to promote a welcoming and inclusive environment for our audiences to learn and feel empowered, to ask hard questions, and to pursue their interests regardless of their past experiences. Yerkes' strength lies within its ability to juxtapose astronomy's past, present, and future, and by bringing astronomy enthusiasts and young people to Yerkes and engaging them in educational activities and observing, they become part of Yerkes' story. Visitors at Yerkes are walking the same halls as astronomy greats like Hubble and Chandrasekhar, leading them to think about and to ponder what their impact on the field could be. So our team is really focusing on developing educational and research experiences that highlight how science is not just a body of facts based on its history, but also a creative endeavor that is always looking toward the future. And we're also doing this while providing access to an inspiring place. We're hoping particularly to engage those that are marginalized in astronomy and STEM, particularly people of color, women, and first-generation college students. And we're aiming to provide resources and technology that are needed to explore astronomy and STEM in general as a passion or as a career. And working on this with me is Dr. Amy Steele, who's leading the development of the astronomy and research programming here at Yerkes. With all of those things in mind, I want to provide a quick overview of our plans and some ideas that we've already implemented at the observatory. First, I'll talk about our education and outreach programming and what we're planning to do there. So one really important facet of our education and outreach programming is welcoming schools, K-12 students, and educators on our site to learn about astronomy. These school visits include a tour of the building, so students will have a chance to walk our halls and see the Great Refractor. And then it will end with a hands-on inquiry-based activity that's based on our national standards called the Next Generation Science Standards, or NGSS. So our school visits are a great way for students to get that first foot in the door to learning about astronomy, and it also provides teachers with the opportunity to incorporate more astronomy into their classes. We're really excited about connecting directly with teachers as well by providing professional development programming for them. Our plan is to implement this next summer, where we'll welcome teachers on site to develop curriculum for their classroom based on astronomy content that they want to add into their curriculum. On top of this, we're looking forward to building a really robust astronomy education community of practice where teachers are able to connect with each other, share ideas and lessons, as well as challenges that they're facing when incorporating astronomy concepts into their classes. To directly engage the public, we're also hoping to introduce more public open houses to our repertoire, on top of this observing events and public tours where people can come into the building and see what we have to offer. And this also would provide a great opportunity to have sustained contact with students, where if they have a great experience visiting the observatory for a school tour, they can come back with their families at a future time. For our astronomy programming that Dr. Steele is working on, we have 3 categories that we're looking forward to engaging our visitors with. Our first set of visitors include undergraduate and graduate students from community colleges and local universities that may not have access to astronomical equipment or research capabilities on their campuses. And for those students, we are going to be providing hands-on training and research experiences for them where they can actually engage in astronomy on site. For scientists who have already received their PhDs or are working as research scientists at universities, we have a 24-inch and 40-inch reflecting telescopes on site where they will be able to do some observing with those and potentially add to their research. Our instruments are also a great testbed for instrumentation that are going to be sent to sites that have darker skies, clearer skies than Wisconsin typically does, but still a great opportunity for them to test out how the instrumentation works in a low-stakes environment. We also are providing a science residency for astronomers who are looking to focus on research while they are away from their campuses. And we have workshop and conference spaces available as well. For the public, we have a remarkable collection of about 180,000 historic glass plates that are currently being digitized. So those will be available for the public to review and potentially do research with in the future. Yerkes Observatory has so many remarkable activities that are being planned or are currently in progress. And I'm so grateful that I was able to share that with you all today. So, thank you all so much for listening and for attending. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.